In high school, I had tried Percocet and Oxycontin. Took until I went to college until I kind of went into fentanyl patches and heavier opioid pain medication. When I would use, it would kind of mask any emotions or pain that I would keep in, and it would intensify anything I was doing.
Danny was the life of the party, just kind of a great person to be around. You're instantly attracted to Dan just for those reasons. We dated on and off for about 2 years, and I got pregnant. His addiction really, I think, took off more then, and I think the stress of knowing a child was coming and just not being ready to deal with that is kind of what led to the downward spiral.
I put a lot of burden on her shoulders while she was pregnant. I really wasn't there emotionally. I really wasn't there to connect.
That's hard for me to talk about it. It's supposed to be a happy time in your life, and it wasn't. I went into labor on my own. It was 2 days after her due date.
Right before she went into labor, she had an emergency C-section, and I had to put on scrubs. And in my pocket, I had 3 Oxy 80 pills. Normally, I would just take 1, but I didn't want the doctors or anyone to see what was in my pants pocket, so I took all 3 before I went into delivery. During that delivery, I felt like I was walking on clouds. When my daughter was handed to me, I could barely hold her. I remember holding my daughter for the first time, and I ruined that moment.
It's terrible. It robs people of so many wonderful things, like moments that should be enjoyable. I wanted him to get things together. I mean, I wanted the perfect little household. I wanted her to have her mom and her dad, but it was so dysfunctional with him being on drugs. There was a lack of resources, too, at that time. I mean, you're looking at 2011. You talk about opioid addiction now, and you see billboards, you see, TV screens. There was nothing like that then. He would always tell me that, I went to a meeting, or he was trying to get sober, but everything he did was on his own, which was never successful.
Maybe I could go to the doctor, get that product. What was it called? Suboxone. Take the Suboxone up until, right before my vacation. Then I could stop the Suboxone, quit cold turkey, because I have the whole vacation. You know what I mean?
One of the lowest points of my entire life.
My daughter was asking where he was, and the only thing you can tell a 4, almost 5-year-old is that he's sick.
I lost everyone's trust. My relationship with my daughter at that time was pretty much non-existent. Out of Lindsey wanting to protect Caden. That was around the time I went from opiates to heroin. And after I did that the first time, I never stopped. It's a mental obsession that from the moment I wake up till the moment I sleep, which is very little, the entire time I'm thinking about getting high. When we went to Hershey Park, I needed to have heroin. I went in the stall and I used, and I came out and I couldn't find my daughter. I was panicking, and someone brought her over to me, and she was bawling her eyes out. That memory I won't forget, because I at that moment I realized I would do anything to get high, even put my daughter's safety in jeopardy. During that rehab, someone asked me, they said, "What's the number one thing in your life?" I said, "My daughter." He's like, "I'm sick of hearing people say that. You need to be number one in your own life, or she's not going to be there." And I woke up the next morning and I realized, I'm like, wow, that might be one of the most powerful things anybody's ever said to me. Later that day, I got on the phone with my daughter, and she said, "Daddy, I just don't want you to be sick anymore. I miss you." And from that moment on, I started writing my daughter's name on my hand to get me through the day. My daughter was ultimately the driving force in me wanting to be number one in my own life.
I remember him being sober, and he looked so much better, and I was so happy. I was cautiously optimistic.
At the time when you come out of rehab and you realize you're like, that's it, I'm staying clean. I want everyone to know, right? But you've hurt these people for years and years and years. Time heals all wounds, and it takes time for people to understand Are you going to stay successful?
He had a lot that he needed to do before I felt comfortable with them seeing each other. And he did. He continued to, slowly.
I had set goals, and I had let Lindsey know that my 90-day goal, I want to take my daughter to Hershey Park. And in that time frame, I didn't really get my daughter. And it's very tough as a parent that there's a lot of days where I would go to sleep and I would be very angry that I allowed my life to get like this. But what I would do is I would take that as motivation and be like, I'm never going to live like this again. After that 90-day mark, I got to take her to Hershey Park, and it was awesome because I could see life through her eyes. It was kind of living in the moment, and it was super awesome and powerful.
That saying, time heals all wounds, is so true. You have to build the trust back up.
Now looking back on it, I couldn't be more grateful that she has a mother like that, that was protecting her best interest.
Look at Kaden coming. She's coming.
2 months ago, I moved out of the recovery house and I moved into my own place. And I have a bedroom for Kaden, and I've experienced my first 2 overnights. I couldn't remember the last time I put her to bed. So you're talking years of not having these moments that I really, fought to have. And this is why I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, because this is what life's all about. She's just the best thing that I've ever created in my entire life. My message to someone else that's going through it is, listen, people didn't believe in me. I didn't even believe in myself, But what I did is I gave myself an opportunity. Focus on today. The past is the past. Don't look at what you did. You need to focus on today to get to where you want to go. You need to set goals, and you can accomplish them because we do recover.